And here we are back at the Church of the Muzzle Flash. Our director informed me that we're a nation of doers and we accept donations, but I didn't tell you where to send the money. So if you're so inclined, send the money to www.churchofthemuzzleflash.com. We'll take it.
Hold on. You want to go to that site, there's a donation box on there.
Thank you. There's a donation box on the site. We take contributions, donations, hopefully 3-4-figure numbers and no decimal points.
And it's a PayPal thing.
And
so
a
no
PayPal,
problem.
so there's no problem. Now, getting back to what we're talking about here in the Warren Mineral Springs, Bill Balkwell was a resident here and has been for many years. You would think that this place would be a maximum law enforcement area. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Under another Sarasota County Commissioner, Shannon Staub, we had a drug rehab center crammed down our throats over here on Sevilla Street. This caused so many problems in the community, I don't even want to go into it. Almost precipitated the death of a couple of elderly friends of mine.
Well,
Drake knows them.
He kept the police give him somebody to chase. I mean,
Every Wednesday, was it Wednesday nights we were over there? Tuesday?
Yeah, every Wednesday night they had an AA meeting in a place they weren't supposed to have one
Right.
at all anyway.
Right.
So,
And the only way that we finally got them out of there is we would go over and stand and watch like silent observers. There was no enforcement here. Because of this drug rehab, anybody in the Springs that tries to sell their house, they can't sell it through a realtor because the realtor's in a catch-22 with the real estate law and the state law, and if they list the house, they can lose their real estate license.
they got to disclose that.
They have to disclose this. This is not a good situation. This was all precipitated by Mr. Balkwell. He allowed this to go on. We tried to get them to make the AA group stop it. They wouldn't. And then there were a lot of other things we talked to them about, too. We have trucks here that are parked in the Mineral Springs. The flatbeds, on the back of the flatbeds are deuce-and-a-half military vehicles.
Yep.
What's in them? We have no idea. Armored cars, no idea. Full tractor trailers, they could be full of drugs, they could be full of bodies. No one will go
Or
and
atomic
investigate.
weapons. I mean, don't know.
Automatic weapons. We called the Drug Enforcement Administration. We called the FDA, ATF. We called the Sheriff's Department. We called the Northport Police. Nobody's interested. Yet this guy's been taking kickbacks for putting a prison in that we question whether we even need it or not. At the same time, the Mineral Springs itself has changed ownership. We've gone down and talked to them, explained to them the historical, scientific importance of this place, why this place has to be investigated by a correct group of technical people, none of which are in the community other than Drake and myself.
Exactly.
They don't want to hear anything. The only thing that they're interested in is making money. Consequently, the situation in the Springs, on the whole west coast of Florida, we have police that are in a very awkward position. They're compromising public health and safety. They're jeopardizing their own safety, and nobody's interested, which brings us up to today's Herald Tribune and Jim Lay. Jim is the current county administrator. He came to us here from Las Vegas. There, he overdeveloped the city so much that today it is the highest in the nation in foreclosures, lowest in national sales, all attributed to overdevelopment. And Mr. Lay's solution to the problem here, with no income for him to make his $214,614 a year salary, is to change the zoning on the houses so we can have a situation like on Sevilla Street, or which is right across the street from my house, in a residential neighborhood. We have operating businesses. The commission is totally unable to do anything about it, and when we complain, they tell us that we're troublemakers. In the meantime, they're lining the police up. They're increasing the amount of work that they have to do. Here, the Sarasota County and the Sheriff's County are working in collusion with each other, now over state lines, chasing people, having small quantities of drugs. A lot of the time it's prescription drugs. And we want to ask the people, the powers that be, what's in these tractor trailers down here in the warm Mineral Springs? Why aren't these police out checking these things instead of putting up these kind of... The only word that I can think of starts with a B and ends in an S, but I'm not allowed to say that. But this is garbage. Foobar. There we go.
It's part of a plan.
It's part of a plan. Right. Now, unfortunately, the police, unbeknownst to them, have got themselves in a very, very bad situation, which Mr. Bailey is going to explain here now. Because Alex Jones has been talking about this. He's one of the people that is also very much involved in trying to save America here. And, go ahead, Drake.
Okay. Well, the plan, according to Alex Jones and some other investigations we've done. Now, we get something that we find online. Mr. Stoner and I both investigated. We find other links, other reports of the same, either the same kind of thing and or the same specific item. This is not something that we take lightly in terms of wanting to be correct. The easiest way to find that is to find evidence that supports itself. Okay, so this Alex Jones ideology is part of a plan that we can offer you. Become a member and request it, no problem. The idea here is to set up a situation so that the United States of America becomes literally a police state. The manner in which you do that and the manner in which you implement controls of that nature is several-fold. One of the main players in this is the Homeland Security Act. It already instituted on a timeline basis what's called constitutional free zones of 100 miles from the borders into the country, toward the center of the country. Within a constitutional free zone, the Constitution is suspended. You have martial law. The ideology here is that if they're willing to accept it, in other words, we haven't done anything that anybody's worried about, and until they do, according to several people that I've talked to, no problem. We're not worried about it. Okay? What happens is that you continually mess with the people to the point where they lose their sensibilities in terms of we're all going down to City Hall, bring a club or something, we're done. We've had enough of this. Or you end up with a crowd, such as one of those small meetings, and you accost the crowd physically with the police. However it starts, doesn't matter. The idea is this. The police are not set up, and I mean this literally, and the police, if they look at themselves, and I think the police need to really pay attention to this, are not set up in order to handle the general population coming after them. You don't have enough bullets or guns to handle it. You'll get a few of the front line. This is like the human wave attacks I endured in Vietnam. But the rest of them are going to get to you unless you know how to handle it. Problem is that there's a bunch of them, and when they grab you, you're done. If you remove the police, then you have a condition known as anarchy. That means that there is no law, everybody is a mob rule. Consequently, this is the main thrust and the point at which martial law can be declared. And the Northern Command, this is located in Colorado, this is located in New York, have divisions of returnees from Iraq and Afghanistan, along with special forces, to police us. In other words, the military becomes our police.
To police the police and us.
The police won't be there. We will have killed them. Consequently, this is what you're basically looking at, total and complete martial law. So, at that point, if you're not armed, if you're not ready to survive, if you have not gone to the correct places, you're not going to find what you need in order to survive, quite literally. So, irrespective as to some things, one of the things that was pointed out by Mr. Stoner with the police now going across county lines, he said state lines. Well, this is also true with national. So consequently, the police are going to be gobbled up.